Well, hello there. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you all. Well, I don't see you. I guess you see me, but good to see your name. Carolyn and Charles, I saw William. You were there right at the beginning. Um, and yes, I do believe Diego is feeling better. He certainly sounds better when I talked to him on Wednesday. So after our Tuesday live that I barely got us through. When I talked to him on Wednesday, he sounded like this. You could barely hear him. So his voice was in bad shape. So I do think it's better. Maybe he will grace us with his presence and pop on here to prove it. Oh, and then of course our mascot has decided that now is when he wants to say hello and get a little attention. So yes, this is Rudy, our Tuesday Let's Talk Tuesday family mascot. Okay, you have to go away now. I love you, but go away. Okay, so I'm glad you're all here. I see Carolyn, Charles, William, Monty, Adam, our little family. The gang's all here. Hi, John. Hi, Amy, Shauna, Ivy, Alex, Grace, Michelle, Celinda. I like it. Oh, making dinner, but listening and taking notes. Well, awesome. That's good. Dinner's most important. So, yeah, don't mess that up because that's the most important thing. La Habra, my closer to my old stomping grounds anyway, in Yorba Linda. Casey, are you hearing me? Adam says no audio. Okay. Let's see. Are the rest of you all okay? All right. Diego's telling me we're good, so I think we're good. Hopefully, Adam, you can hear me. Okay, there we go. Okay, so glad you guys are all here. Yes, Rudy, he is very cute, which is good for him because otherwise I wouldn't put up with half the stuff that I put up with him. But he keeps my life interesting and he gives me reason to have to get out and walk every day, a couple of times a day. So some days, you know how it is. Some days you just need a reason to do that because you're not finding the motivation within yourself. And so he often is that motivation. So it's all good. So, okay, great. It looks like everyone can hear me, everyone can see me, and that's because Diego is back and he knows how to make all this work, and it's not just relying on me. So, you can, if you guys have questions, feel free. Yes, Michelle, dogs are the best thing. I don't happen to have kids myself, so dogs have always been the closest thing to a child in my house. Now, my niece Lauren, who is my sister's daughter, is really like a daughter to me too. So she's the closest experience that I have to a daughter. But as far as day in and day out and having to care for another living being in your household, that's always been dogs for me. So, yeah, they have a special place in my heart. So, yeah, see, yay, Diego. Yay for Diego. Yay, Diego. Um, all right. So, Madison, topics of acting and dogs. There you go. I'm here for it all. Well, you guys will have to give me the pointers on the dogs part because I'm not nearly as disciplined with him as I should be. I'm a sucker, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm a sucker for his cute little yeah, his cute little smile and his cute little eyes and, you know, all of that. So, anyway, there are worse things, I guess, I could be suckered in by. Um, so, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments. Put them in the comments. Until then, I did have something that came to mind for me, and I read a post from someone. Um, I actually don't even remember who posted it because that wasn't really what I was concentrating on, but it was someone who was posting trying to find out information about a project that was casting. And they commented that they don't have an active account anymore with any of the services that the actual casting call was. I love that, Sherry. Yes, he's training me. Um, that person didn't have an active account on any of the casting services like Actors Access or Faith-Based Casting, um, where the casting director, it's not my project, by the way, I'm not the casting director, but where the casting director for that project had posted the casting notices. And so they were trying to find other ways to get to the casting director and to get a submission. And I want to talk about that because first of all, I do want to say that I think there is sometimes, especially in the faith-based acting world, there can be this tendency to think that everything should be free because it's for God, and that um and that we shouldn't be you shouldn't have to like go through the normal channels, that there should be other ways for you to be able to access these things because it's Christian, right? And we want to include people and all of that. But the reality is we have a job to do. I see questions coming in, so I will get to them. The reality is, as a casting director, I have a job to do. I have a timeline within which I need to do it. I look at those services, the reason we use those services is because it streamlines our process, right? It is a way in which we can get out the notices to everybody, and we can have a mechanism by which people can audition, submit their tapes, they get back to us, and then the part you guys don't know is that attached to that is a whole back end that allows us to keep track of and sort all the audition videos that come in. Okay. So again, think thousands of audition videos that come in for a job. We have to put them in folders and categorize them and make them available for producers and directors to see. That's a whole big thing. And those services have a back end built into them that allow us to do our job efficiently. That's one of the big reasons we use them. And for what is, I believe, not a lot of money, they are an extremely useful tool. And the idea of trying to kind of go around the mechanism that the casting director has put in place for that particular project, simply because you don't want to join one of those services, is really not, I just don't think it's a great way to approach it. First of all, I think there are certain investments that we all have to make, right? In our businesses, we all have to make. And like, I just see this, I have a new microphone. I just bought a microphone. I realize, okay, I need to do that. I need to start getting more reliable equipment and all of that. I make that investment. I think about, like a photographer. If you hired a photographer, so I'm going to hire a photographer to take my pictures. I call the photographer and the photographer says, "Oh, you know what? My camera broke and I don't really feel like investing in a new camera. So can I just borrow your camera to take your pictures?" It's like, "Well, no, cuz I'm hiring you to do that." And there's investments we need to make in our work if we're going to approach it professionally. Does this make sense? And so I just want to encourage you to think differently about those sites and about those casting services. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be a part of every single one and spend tons of money and, have memberships in all of them. But I will tell you from my side, because part of the reasons we have this conversation is so that you guys can understand the other side of the process. Part of the challenge is that when I get approached with like onesie, twosie individual little emails and audition requests or things that come in outside of the mainstream mechanism by which I'm using for the project, it's actually very difficult because everything has to go out individually. So you say we have, 1,500 people we're sending audition sides and things out to, and this one person wants me to send them individually to them because they don't want to join those services. That's hard. That takes more time. And then when those individual auditions come back in, rather than automatically being uploaded to that back end system that we're using for sorting and for labeling and sharing, then their audition has to be handled completely separately, which means myself or someone from my staff has to take the time to take their individual audition, upload it to the system separately. And if it were just one person, you'd say, okay. And there are times there's exceptions, like a director or producer can say, hey, there's this someone I met or I saw in a showcase, or, I saw in a friend of mine's film and I really want to try them out. They're just starting acting, so they don't have all the tools and the services. Those are exceptions that we make for a specific reason. But when it's an actor who otherwise is saying that they're pursuing it professionally and it's important to them and they want to be a part of, the film business, then I think you need to invest in the tools and not expect there to be a separate mechanism for you because you don't want to be a part of those services. There's a big reason we use them. We have to use them because of the work we do on the backside. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I don't know that you guys really know the back end of it and why those services are so valuable to us for the work we do once the auditions all come in, right? So, anyway, and Diego, don't expect others to invest in you in an area you're not willing to invest in yourself. For an actor not to invest in themselves is something as small as casting websites, a red flag. And it is for me too, to be honest, because I have to think to myself, I have to think to myself, okay, are they taking this seriously? Is this something that they're really involved in or really, pursuing professionally? Or is this sort of, oh, I think it would be fun to do this? Oh, my sister's on here. I just saw her. She says, Kathleen Kennedy Palmer says, hello from Idaho. That's my sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to jump in here real quick to say hi to everybody.
Please. There's
And
Diego. See, he's alive.
I'm feeling a lot better. Just want to say thank you to everyone because I got a lot of messages after that. I'm feeling a lot better. Not 100 yet, but I'm feeling so much better. My voice is actually back, so that's good. But I wanted to also take this opportunity um, because I know you wouldn't boast on yourself, but I do want to like kind of piggyback on what you said about an actor investing in themselves or something like a casting website, right? And like being able to honor like the process that's there, and you don't know what that translates to a person, to a manager or a casting director, right? And I just wanted to piggyback off this because this has been in my heart since I spent time with you in Nashville, and a lot of people that may have the mentality of, well, I don't want to go on the casting website. I just want to hit up Beverly on my own directly. And if she doesn't respond to me, then I feel offended. You should take time to like listen to me. And it doesn't work that way. And when an actor truly invests in themselves in that craft and invest in their business and this calling by getting on these websites, right? And then building this relationship with someone like a Beverly, you have no idea where where that can take you. And I'll give you an
Mm,
example because when you see someone, an actor that is just is trying, is grinding it out, but is doing it in excellence, is on these websites, is at these film festivals, it speaks volumes. So
mhm.
I won't get into names. I mean, you feel comfortable saying the name if you do, but I'll just say this: Beverly and I were in a meeting in Nashville, and we were meeting with these with this other agency, like a very high profile agency, right, that are effective and are wanting to really get involved in this Christian film space. And they specifically were meeting with Beverly and with me about being able to like have a partnership and connect them with some actors. Beverly took that time to speak to these people, right? And this is what people don't see what Beverly does. Bev sees like your work ethic and the quality you put out. I was just sitting there like this. I'm like, people only knew. Beverly was she was pitching, she was pitching these actors, not named actors, not these big name actors. She was pitching some actors and just not just for like 30 seconds. She going on for minutes, speaking on a couple of actors. There's one actor in particular, and just there is no gain for Beverly. But because this actor invested in himself, is
Mm,
grinding it out, is at film festivals, is going through the proper procedure, and is doing it in excellence, that has communicated to you as one of the
mhm,
leading casting directors in this field, not because he's paying you, not, or you felt led because you see what he's doing to pitch him. You have no idea what, by you just honoring your own calling as an actor and
mm,
investing in yourself and in doing that in excellence, you have no idea the people, the conversations behind closed doors, behind live streams, conversations that are being had because people recognize the excellence that you bring to it. So I just wanted to share that because that spoke volumes to me. You know, as your partner, as a manager,
yeah.
I love your heart to see that because you really do have a heart for the people and you see what they're doing. So for all those that are watching, you have no idea by you investing in yourself in excellence,
Mm.
where that might lead. So, all right, go kill it, Bev, kill it. All right.
You're so I love you, Diego. Um, yeah, and it is true. I really am struck by people who are just working really hard and are, like you said, in excellence. And when there's an opportunity, then sure, I'm gonna shout out somebody that I know has been working extremely hard. And even just like the questions that you guys ask here on Tuesdays, like I can tell that you're digging deep, that you're wanting to learn, you're wanting to grow. And I absolutely just love that mindset and that attitude. So yeah. So I wanted to give some context for why we use those casting sites. We don't get anything from them. We don't get any kickback. We don't get money for, ask for asking actors to, submit. None of that. There's no gain other than the fact that they have the infrastructure that we need to do our job and to do it well. So, okay. So enough of that. That's just one thing that came on my mind. Let me go to the questions. Laura Ann. One of my students this week has an audition as a Serbian. She's wondering, should she attempt an accent if the audition notes do not specify? Honestly, I would check. If you have a way to message the casting director or producer, whoever's heading up that audition process, I would try to message them and ask. If you don't have time to do that, then you could default and do it one take with and one take without, um, unless she's not comfortable. If she's not comfortable or he's not comfortable with the accent, then do it without and just maybe make that note that they would be happy to retape with an accent if that's what they preferred, but that since it wasn't specified, you didn't do one first round. But if that actor is comfortable, have them do one with and one without. Performances always trump everything, right? So performance is key. So if trying to do the accent is going to compromise that, then focus on performance. Okay, Monty, what reasons do actors turn down auditions after they submitted and then got an audition? For me, it's either contradictory directions or got booked for the shoot dates before the audition came in. Do casting directors understand when we have to decline an audition? I appreciate it. Excuse me. I appreciate it when you do provide a note. So I do have context as to why you're turning it down. Um, for especially people that I don't know, because I don't know if they're turning it down because of the content, that they don't respond to content if it happens to be something that's faith oriented and that's not something they want to do. Then I'd like to know that, because I also don't want to keep calling someone in if that's not the kind of material they want to, that they respond to. It's very common for someone to get booked for the shoot dates after they submitted. And so, yeah, you just send a note back with your decline and say, booked, dates got booked. The only other reason, so when actors are submitted by their agents, they don't know anything about agents or managers. They don't know anything about the project typically until they're sent the actual audition request. And it's at that point that the actor then reads it. And if they don't respond or don't feel like it's the right fit for them, then they'll tell their rep, and their rep will respond and say, yeah, they didn't respond to the material, or they're, passing on the project or passing on content. Um, and I understand that, because the agents and managers are the ones that are submitting them. And so the actors really don't chime in until they actually get the audition request. So I'm not offended by any of that. Just give me a reason so that I can better fine tune those audition requests in the future. Um, as far as I don't love it when people just decline, because I don't know why, and that can be frustrating. And if I see a trend of that, then just won't. I'll just stop calling that person in, because it appears to me there's clearly a trend that what I'm calling them in for is not something they're responding to. Um, so yeah, in the early stages for a first read, an initial read, someone declining an audition is not offensive or bothersome. There've been a few times I've been surprised by someone who passed on something because I actually thought it was going to be something potentially really good for them. And there's been a few times that I've called the rep to clarify and to maybe to try to understand why their client is passing. Or if the actor is a friend, to call. But I typically don't call the actors directly, because I don't ever want you guys to feel pressured to feel like I'm pressuring you into auditioning for something, if you're not feeling it. So yeah, if you're going to decline, though, write a note, if you can. Brooklyn. Hi, Brooklyn. What is the best way to navigate premieres, events, and promotion for films that are not under SAG-AFTRA? Is it okay to promote those kinds of projects not under the big studio heads? Are you talking about right now during the strike? Is that what you're talking about? Because something that's not SAG-AFTRA, there's no issue. You just promote however the production wants you to promote. So, um, yeah, not under the big studio. Yeah, anything. There are projects now that are getting interim agreements for publicity. You're seeing that on a few indie films that are slated to be released in the next few months. They're getting interim agreements for publicity and promotion so that their stars can promote those films. But if you're talking about a film that you're a part of that is non-union, then you can do whatever you want. The strike doesn't have any bearing on it at all. So you shouldn't have an issue doing whatever the producers are asking you to do. As far as the conditions of that and, who's paying for what and all of that, that's with you and your agent and production. But as far as the strike, related to the strike, there's no issue if it's a non-union film. Yeah. Okay, Maria, how do you feel about faith-based casting? I wonder about doing my own bookings with no agent involved. There's so many things an agent can help with: pay, working conditions, etc. Are you talking about how do I feel about faith-based casting, the website faith-based casting, like faithbasedcasting.com, or faith-based casting as a genre, like as a kind of big picture kind of a thing? Um, and I don't know that it's different faith or not, other than I think there's more, I think the faith film world has more non-union projects that .com. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a legit website and the auditions on there are legit. I know that they vet the projects that are posted on there, and the owners and managers of that site are involved in the oversight on a day-to-day basis. Like they keep track on that. Um, so yeah, I would submit yourself. I've said before, one of the reasons that I like to use faith-based casting is that I can go ahead and send the sides when I post the casting call and leave it up to the actors to go ahead and submit their self-tape. I don't have to wait for the submissions, go through them, and then request. If I make in my posting, if I make the sides available and say anyone is welcome to send in an audition tape, you don't have to wait to be invited to audition. Then my expectation is that people should take advantage of that. Anytime you have that opportunity, in my opinion, you should be taping. Of course, if it's a role that fits you, but you should be taping. There's absolutely no reason not to. I'm always shocked at the lack of audition tapes that I get when I make sides fully available, and I still don't get self tapes. It's surprising to me. When I request, then of course they will, but I think maybe there's a perception that somehow we won't watch them. I promise you, every single tape, whether it comes through Actors Access or comes through faith-based casting, whatever service, every single tape gets watched. So just be assured of that. There's not this whole, treasure trove of tapes that aren't getting watched. If you take the time to do an audition tape, it gets watched. So just be assured. All right, Richard. Sorry about that. With the actors and writer strike going on, would this not be the best time to take acting classes, workshops, one-on-one could? Absolutely. Absolutely, Richard. You're exactly right. Now is the time because so many times, right, we always said, gosh, we're just so busy. We haven't had time. I really wanted to take a class, but I haven't had time. Now's the time to do that. Absolutely. And you still, and I'm telling myself this, by the way, um, as much as I'm telling you right now, we still need to treat every day as our job, right? This is our full-time job. So if I'm in between projects and I don't happen to have anything going on, it doesn't mean I should just be sitting back and doing nothing. There's a lot I can be doing that would help me down the road so that when I do get busy, I've already handled a few of the housekeeping things, or for me, research things, or even, training things and growing my craft. Um, I that I should be doing, would be wise to be doing when things are slow, because when things are really busy, I'm always saying, "Oh man, I wish I had time to do that," or "I wish I had time to watch that masterclass tape or to read this article or whatever." Well, now I have the time and I need to take advantage of it. So I would say the same. I would encourage you to do the same. Um, there's so much you can do. There's so much to read and watch and explore, and classes you can take, and online classes. And I mean, the resources are just endless. So, yes, Richard. Yes, 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 yes. I agree wholeheartedly. Okay. Dawn. Hi, Dawn. Besides Actors Access, what other casting sites are highly recommended? Well, faith-based casting obviously is specifically for the faith family inspirational world, but there's casting workbooks. There's um, Casting workbook is actually more Europe based, but there's it used to be LA casting, but it's now I forget which. I just don't happen to use it a lot, but it's used an awful lot. Um, any of you guys who know what I'm talking about, it used to be like LA casting and labeled by city. Casting networks, sorry, casting networks. And casting networks now is nationwide. So that's another one. And yeah, I would say those are probably the majors. People ask me about Backstage all the time. I don't use Backstage. I feel like Backstage is a little more geared towards stage and theater postings really than TV film. And again, Backstage, there's no mechanism by which we have the all-encompassing services as far as getting tapes in and processing them and all of that. So Backstage really isn't something that's used for TV film. Yeah, mainstream TV film. So yeah, I would say that casting networks, Actors Access, Breakdown Services, which is agents and managers side of Actors Access, faith-based casting would probably be the main ones. I'm probably forgetting one, but those are the ones that I've used. So okay, let's see. Any other questions? I'm looking down. Brian. Hi, Brian. I auditioned with two of your associates, season 1 of The Chosen, role of Nicodemus. Okay. They were excellent to work with. Oh, good. I'm really glad. Very professional, really wonderful to read with. Yep, my office in Culver City. I only just recently switched offices, and now I'm going to be officing with Kappa Studios up in Burbank, sharing office space with them up there. As you know, I split my time now between my beautiful, wonderful home, newfound home, adopted home outside of Boise, Idaho, where my sister is and my family is. And then now my office in Burbank. But I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that, Brian. I try to choose associates that are very talented actors themselves, just because I want the actors that audition with us to have. I feel like if I've given you every tool you need to be successful, then the rest is on you, right? So I want to give you readers that are talented and that are going to give you what you need, everything they can to help your read be strong and give you something to respond to. And so, we want to give you all the tools, and then it's on you. And that way there's no excuses of like, oh, the reader was awful, or yeah, I was reading across from someone who didn't give me anything. So I want to eliminate all of those and give you what you need to be successful. So I'm glad to hear that, Brian. I love my team, and I've been really, really fortunate that way. So oh, Anne Marie, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm glad to be here with you guys here. Okay, Michelle, I'm good. I'm good. I have a question. If the actress got really nervous at his or her audition, the first one with you, and do it very bad, would you consider to cast him or her for a second time, or maybe not anymore? Make a mistake, grammar. No worry. I mean, I would potentially call them in again. It depends on if it was a really I can usually discern if someone's audition wasn't great because the nerves got to them versus someone who maybe just acting isn't their natural gifting. I can often discern that, and usually my note in that case will be, that they're a little green, which on our side means green meaning new or not. There goes the microphone, or not very experienced. And if that's the case, then if enough time has passed that I think that they've maybe had a chance to get more experience, then I will read them again to see if they've grown. Now, if I read them again and the result still is not strong, then I probably won't. You have to think about it when I have, hundreds of people for a role, and I've tried someone a couple of times and it just hasn't been all that strong, then I probably won't prioritize continuing to bring that person back. But if it's just nerves but I see other sparks, then I'll either redirect them and have them read again, or give it some time and see if, after some time that hopefully, they've studied and things, they've gotten a little stronger, a little more confident, and see if that comes across any better. A good example of that is Rafael Ruggiero from LifeMark. I think I've told you before, and he'll tell you his first audition wasn't all that strong, because he came from a very broad comedy theater background. And so his first read tended to have more of that. But I did see a spark. Like, I saw the pieces there. I just sensed that he hadn't been focused in the TV film direction, but that there was innate talent there, and just sort of an it factor there. And so, we did, gosh, a couple more auditions and then callbacks. Like, he probably did, I'd say 5 or 6 by the time he actually got cast for LifeMark. So oftentimes we can see it even though there might be nerves. But I'd say, I'm not going to say like write it off completely unless the audition is such that I really have a sense that maybe acting is not maybe the natural gifting for that person, in which case I probably won't read them again. So it just depends it's on a case by case basis. So, okay. Jenny, is it important to have clips or a reel on Actors Access? I'm laughing because I answer this question a lot. Diego knows that. It depends on who you talk to. I'm going to answer this quickly. It depends on who you talk to. I prefer a reel with your best work, and then clips after that I can click around to. Other casting directors prefer individual clips because they don't want to watch a whole reel. So it's going to vary. I would say have both. I want a reel because I want you to tell me what your best work is. So I want you to put that in a reel so I can click on it and just see what you're telling me is your best work, as opposed to me hunting around and having to figure out. The example I use is, what if I click on the one clip that you threw in there, but really you're not you wouldn't say is your best work, and that's the one I click on and I go, they're okay. But there's something else I could have seen that I would have had a different impression. Well, then you're leaving that up to chance. Whereas if you do a reel and you determine which clips are first and second and third, then you're determining what I see first and whether I continue to watch. So, but there are other casting directors who want clips. They want to be able to just clip clips that are labeled like comedy, drama, maybe a little sentence about what the scene is, and they want to be able to click around. So each person's a little different. Yeah. So if you can do both, that's ideal. Brooklyn, will you be doing any workshop classes soon? Super sad I missed the Nashville one. It was an amazing time. We had a great time. Tina put together a really good class, and Diego says, yes. That's one of the things I actually have been thinking about a lot, because I really love doing it. Love doing it. And so right now, when I'm in a little bit of a lull, that's one of the things that I am thinking, okay, I need to start putting some real firm steps to that side of things for me. So I really was talking to myself as much as I was answering Richard's question earlier about, like, should we be using this lull to, learn and grow and take classes and all of that. So yes, it's something I really want to do. I love doing. And Diego and I just have to put some specifics to it and kind of map out a plan. So we'll keep you posted. Okay. So let me see. All right. Hi, Emily. Yeah, I did one in Nashville that was really tied to Tina Gallo and her Nashville studio of method actors. And so I promoted it, but it was really her studio and I was a guest. What Diego and I are talking about doing is actually something where we're sort of spearheading it and then adding some structure and take it to a couple of different cities. So that's what we're looking at doing. So when we get it structured and get it ready, certainly we'll let you guys know for sure, and kind of figure out where would be the best places for us to go and to be able to hit you guys, reach most of you guys. So okay, so Diego's telling me it's time to wrap it up, which is crazy because it feels like we just started. It went really, really fast tonight, probably because I talked about that quick point in the beginning. But so next week, Tuesday, I don't know yet what we'll talk about. I do know there's a couple of guests that I want to have on. So I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after, but one of these weeks, we're going to have some really great people on to hear their perspective and have them answer some questions. And then, of course, we'll do a monologue session again in a few weeks as well. So just keep coming back Tuesday, tell your friends, have them join us, and appreciate you. Love you. I honestly see all your names on the side and just appreciate you guys being here and just the camaraderie and the community that we're building. That's really valuable to me, and I appreciate you. And I'm excited for the times when we're at workshops or conferences where we can see each other. That was one of the things that was super fun about that Nashville workshops, because there were several people there who were there because of our Tuesday night group, and I got to put some faces with names. And now when I see their names on the comments on Tuesday nights, it's like a friend. So y'all are like friends, but at least I have some personal interaction with a few more of you. So we'll just keep working on that. So I love and appreciate you. I hope you guys have a really good week. Let's all, myself included, let's all commit to taking, let's say we're going to take 5 steps to do something that's either educational or useful to our work, or going to make good use of some downtime, watch an interview, watch a behind the scenes, read an article, some things that's going to further us towards the things that we really want. So love you guys, appreciate you, and for now that's it, but I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.